Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today, and welcome to Live with Leila. My name is Leila Singh, and I'm a life leadership, career, and personal brand coach. And I work with career professionals, typically in the technology industry, who are wanting to elevate their life and career to create a life of freedom and choice through overcoming self-imposed limitations and to create new possibilities by redefining your success in work, health, relationships, and so much more, all whilst showing up as the best version of yourself. So, welcome each and every one of you who's catching this live today or on the replay. And if you're watching live, then do please say hello in the comments. Let me know where in the world you are watching or listening in from today. And if you're watching on replay, then do please hashtag replay in the comments. And again, introduce yourself and let me know where you're listening in from. And so before I dip into today's topic, I wanted to explain why I've decided to go with this particular theme today, which is why letting go sets you free. Now, you may or may not have noticed that I have been a little bit absent for the last couple of weeks from my lives. Why? Because I was away with my partner in the Caribbean delivering a retreat and workshop. It was all around planning and personal growth. And a big part of the personal growth piece, which was the part that I was delivering to the delegates, was very much around understanding the beliefs that we hold about ourselves that no longer serve us, and also about the stories that we tell ourselves and the past experiences that we're holding on to. All of the things that are no longer serving us, that are in fact hindering us, holding us back, rather than helping us to move forward. Hi, Shah. Great to see you on board. Thanks for hopping on today. And so often without realizing it, we are the ones who are guilty of holding ourselves back. And I emphasize that point because it's very easy to look outside of ourselves and place blame on people, situations that are occurring that are outside of our control as the cause of where we're at in life. Whereas in actual fact, oftentimes what can hold us back, for example, in our work, whether it's our career, our business, maybe it's in relationships or life in general, often we're the ones who are guilty of holding ourselves back, and often without realizing it. And simply by what we choose to hold on to, because once you have that level of awareness that actually now I'm playing a part in this and there's something that I'm doing that's holding me back, you then get to choose what you hold on to. And as an example, this could be a fear that you're holding on to. It could be a past experience, something that happened to you that you're now holding on to, and it's defining your life as you move forward. And it could be a belief that maybe served you when you were younger, some years back, maybe when you started out in your career or whatever that might be. It might be a belief that you picked up from family members or other people around you, teachers, mentors, friends, your peer group. But actually you take a look and think, well, this isn't really helping me anymore. It's not moving me forward. It's not enabling me to reach my full potential. And as I said, the reason I want to share this topic with you is because this was a big part of what we explored during the workshop on the retreat. And it was really great to have our delegates truly play full out. They pledged to do so on day one, and they absolutely followed through with that and actually blew it out the park. When I say play full out, they showed up open, willing to learn, to embrace new perspectives, new ideas, new philosophies, and to be vulnerable. And that's a big part of being able to let go, because being vulnerable, being honest with ourselves about the things that maybe we don't really want to face up to or we don't want to share, allows us to be honest with ourselves and therefore to choose to then decide whether we're going to let go of the things that no longer serve us. And as I said, this was a big part of the work that we did out during the retreat. So I'm just scrolling my phone here on LinkedIn to check that this is streaming, and I think it is, but it's not showing up on my phone. So if anybody's out there on LinkedIn listening in, then please do let me know that you are watching on that platform so that I know it is streaming to it. Yeah, so essentially what I was very privileged to witness during the event was the individuals, the delegates, recognizing aspects of their life that had been holding them back. And again, it could be fears that they had, it could be beliefs that they were holding on to that they hadn't really looked at before, and had that awareness of, actually, these are beliefs that I've just picked up and I'm running with, but they're not really helping me. Or experiences. Maybe something's happened once upon a time and it's had a significant impact on your life, and as a consequence it may be holding you back in some way. And so this is where the delegates got to really explore this, to understand this, and to then choose to let go of those things that were no longer serving them. Another area which we won't be focusing on today is the language that we use and how we talk to ourselves, and how that may be holding us back. But that's that conversation maybe for another life. And so I'll give you some examples of what I mean here. And before I do that, you might be thinking, well, why is this even important? Why does it matter if I have past experiences, things that happened to me, or beliefs that I'm holding on to, or fears that I'm not choosing to let go of? Well, here's the thing. They are going to limit you from moving forward, from growing and from developing both personally and professionally, and also from advancing in your career. And if you're in business or you're thinking of creating your own business, you want to be able to grow your business and develop it and advance that too. And these are things that can hold you back. And so there's also creating the life that you really want. And this is where the thoughts you have, the beliefs you have, could potentially hold you back. So it's really important to understand, to identify those areas and those things, and then work to be able to let go of them, to maybe create different experiences for yourself by shifting those beliefs and letting go of the things that have stopped you so far. Because when I talk about it stops you from creating the life you want, you run the risk of then living a life of mediocre, of average, when I truly believe we can all live a life of extraordinary. And we have a big part to play in that. There's a lot of influence we have over that, and we can take control of that. We can choose to stay in our comfort zone, and by doing that we will be ensured of playing a small life, or we get to step out, we get to take risks, we get to try new things, and we get to live a life of extraordinary, and we get to create that for ourselves. So let me just give you some examples. I don't think this is streaming to LinkedIn today, which it doesn't say anything on my side is wrong. So not sure what's going on there, but I will carry on. So let me give you some examples of fears. You can acknowledge and face your fears head on. And by doing so, it can allow you to really reach your potential. It could be that key to unlocking that, and to being able to step out and really fulfill on your potential and on the life you want to create. So what fears am I referring to? The fears that you may be holding on to that are no longer serving you. Sharon, thank you for letting me know. I'm not sure what's happened because it's showing that it is streaming to LinkedIn. So I'll continue anyway, and we can put the recording up later. So yeah, some examples of fears that you may be holding on to and not even really aware that you are holding on to them, therefore not realizing that you're actually in part responsible for holding yourself back. So I'll give you some examples of that. Failure, fear of failure. the one you hear a lot from people is fear of failing. Now, it could be fear of failing. A big part of that is because of embarrassment, of, letting yourself down, of what other people are going to think and say. And there's also fear of success. Some people, without even realizing at a conscious level, fear success. And by fearing that success, they then hold themselves back from getting to where they want to be, for that fear of, oh, what happens if I do succeed? What happens if I get that promotion? Maybe I'll feel like an imposter. Maybe I'll get judged. Maybe I'll fail. There's all of these other stories that we then tell ourselves. And here's the thing, my honest belief is that there is no such thing as failure. Everything is a lesson. We learn from it. Unless you keep doing the same thing over and over again in the same way and getting the same result, which you believe to be a failure, and not doing anything differently, or reflecting and assessing on what went wrong and what I could do differently the next time. That's where the learning comes in. If we choose not to do that, then you're setting yourself up for failure. But if you look at people who have achieved massive success in their life, whether it's people who are inventors, who are sports people, business owners, and entrepreneurs, there's so many people who've achieved massive success, and even people within their careers, in leadership, CEOs. You want to remember that to have gotten there, 99.9% of the time, they will have perceived to have failed somewhere along the line before that. And often we don't see that. We don't see that aspect. So we only see when somebody wins, when they achieve that success, but we don't know all that went on behind the scenes or along the way on that journey to get to that point. But here's the thing. The people who succeed are often the ones who, yes, they might fail. In other words, something didn't work the way they wanted it to, but they reflected and they reviewed it. They looked at what they could do even better, where they needed to improve, and they went for it again. So everything, and you may have heard me speak about this before, everything is about the meaning we put onto it. And if we put onto something that doesn't go our way, the meaning of failure, then that's our choice to do so. Or we could change that meaning and look at it as, instead of failure, it's a learning. What can we learn from this? So that's one example I'm giving you there of failing, because that's something that comes up a lot, that people fear and therefore don't take action. So remember, there is no guarantee of success, but there's a guarantee that we'll learn. If something doesn't work out the way we wanted it, what is the biggest learning you can take from that? Other fears include change, fear of change. And by the way, change is inevitable. We know that. But often we'll experience resistance to change because we like to stay in an environment, a situation that we know that is comfortable, and change creates uncertainty. But here's the thing, if we resist uncertainty, we resist change, then we end up getting stagnant and we're stuck and potentially losing our motivation, our drive, our excitement for life, because we're just spinning plates over and over and nothing's changing. So embracing change and embracing uncertainty is really, really important. And again, it's a big fear that a lot of people have. When you recognize that's what you're doing, you get to choose something different. Other fears include fears of people's opinions, their judgment, because of, most people, we want to be liked. And sometimes wanting to be liked means that we're not always true to ourselves because we're doing things to be liked, to maybe be a people pleaser. And here's the thing with that. People will always have opinions and many people will always judge. Therefore, who are you living your life for? Are you living your life to please other people and to have people like you, or to be happy and fulfilled in yourself? In other words, letting go of other people's opinions and judgments, because that's none of your business, and living the life you want to lead, making the choices that you want to make, will get you the happier life. And at the end of it, when you reflect, you'll have less regret than if you lived your life simply to please others. Another fear is loneliness. But I want to distinguish here between loneliness and actually being alone, because being alone and spending time in your own company is a really powerful thing to do. And not a lot of people do it. And it was something, again, that we touched upon during the retreat in the last couple of weeks, about creating that space to be on your own, to just be with your own thoughts, and really listen to what comes up for you, because that's when the conversations can be really incredible, really life-changing for you. So be aware of the distinction between loneliness and spending time alone, and also being aware that if, for example, you're staying in a relationship or you're staying in a job because you fear if you move or you leave, you'll be lonely. And in the work scenario, the reason I share that is because I've heard that said so many times. People don't leave jobs because they're around great colleagues, even if they hate their job or for whatever reason it's not going well. They stay for the people. My view on that is that you'll always maintain those relationships if you want to. You don't have to stay in the same workplace to have those friendships. You can still meet up again and stay in touch, without having to compromise on your career. Another fear is rejection. So fear of rejection. Maybe we don't go for that promotion or that new job because we fear rejection, or we don't commit to a relationship, or we don't ask for what we want. Maybe it's a pay rise, or we even, when we think about asking, like, to commit, asking someone else to commit to a relationship, or choosing ourselves to commit to a relationship, are we scared of rejection then? So again, start to become aware of the fears that you are living with. What could go wrong? That's a fear that most people will have at some point in time, is what could go wrong. And here's the thing, if we reframe that and refocus to what could go right. So in other words, if you were looking to maybe change role, or strive towards getting a promotion, you think, oh, but maybe I'll get rejected, or maybe I won't be able to do the job, or I'll make a mistake and everybody will see and it'll be really embarrassing. Remember, it's all learning. But also ask yourself instead, focus on what could go right. And again, a topic I've touched on before, what we focus on. So rather than focusing on the what could go wrong, focus on all the good things that could come out of taking that risk, of trying something new, of asking for what you want. What could go right? And then another fear is not being good enough. So what is it? What is that fear that you have about not being good enough, and where does that come from? Maybe it has you feeling inadequate or an underachiever, and it could be something that's actually, now when you really look at it, an irrational thought. It could simply be, maybe you got turned down for a promotion, so now you feel you're not good enough and you're going to stay where you are. Or actually, maybe it just wasn't the right time. Perhaps it worked out best for you because the person who was hiring, you wouldn't have got on with, and actually it turned out for the best, and you go apply for another promotion elsewhere. But don't allow that to stop you. So those are some examples of fears. Then you have beliefs and past experiences. And again, these are things that sometimes we carry them around with us and we don't really realize how they're impacting our lives. Again, it could be that belief that I'm not good enough, or that's not my thing, I don't do that, or I'm not that kind of person. So it could be, oh, I'm not a creative person, I'm not a numbers person, I'm not a detailed person. We create these stories for ourselves and they become our truth. It could be a belief, or a belief based on a past experience. So, maybe you started a role and you struggled with it initially because you didn't have the experience. And now you say, well, I haven't got the experience, or I haven't got the confidence because I've not done that before. But remember, the challenge in a new role or trying something new, whether it's in your health game or in relationships, whether it's in terms of how you meet people or things that you do together with your partner, it's all about growth and learning and being fulfilled, and not simply doing the same thing over and over again and then complaining about it and complaining how bad your life is. Another belief is around comparison, and, oh, I'm not like them, so I can't do that, or I'm not deserving of that and they are, or they're just lucky. There's all of these thoughts and beliefs we have, again, that can hold us back. To start to really check in with yourself on these examples that I'm sharing, and think about where they occur for you. What beliefs do you have? What experiences have you been through that you're still carrying with you that in fact directly influence the decisions that you make today, which in turn hold you back or they hinder you from getting to where you want to be? So those are some examples of fears, of beliefs and past experiences that we have. They're very common and often we don't realize. And again, I talk a lot about building your self-awareness, and this is a way to start to do that. So start to really slow down and recognize those areas where you have fears, where you have beliefs that don't serve you anymore, where you have experiences that you're carrying with you that perhaps bring up a certain type of emotion that isn't really helpful, or has you make decisions in a particular way because of what happened. And it's important to remember that we want to create our future from our future, not from our past. Our past, as I'm sure you've heard, does not define us. And so what does that mean for you? What can you do? What you can do is to identify the ways in which you are holding yourself back. So maybe go back through this recording and listen to some of the examples I've shared of the fears, of the beliefs, of the experiences, and ask yourself, what am I carrying still that are fears that I am holding on to, or beliefs or experiences? And take responsibility, because remember, this is all about leading your own life leadership, taking control, taking responsibility for the life that you want to create. And that is what the delegates did during the retreat last week, was to really slow down to the possibilities they can create when they choose to let go of all of these things holding them back. And there were some processes we worked through and exercises that enabled them to take steps in that direction and to create that freedom and that choice in their life. And the words used to feed back on their experience of our week together with myself and my partner was that the event was life-changing and it was transformational. And we have witnessed huge shifts in all of the delegates that we worked with over that time. And so I'm sharing with you something that is very powerful that came out of that time together, that you can also start to work on yourself to enable you to propel yourself forward in your life, in your career, even with your health and your relationships. So identify the ways that you're holding yourself back, and then understand where those fears and those beliefs are coming from. Because when you start to explore that, oftentimes you'll find they're actually quite irrational. And then you start to have the awareness in your space of, okay, this is what I'm doing and this is how it's stopping me. And actually, well, is it helping me? Is it hindering me? Was the next question. And if it is hindering you, what is the cost to you of holding on to that fear, of holding on to that belief? What is it costing you? What is it preventing you from having or preventing you from experiencing? And then ask yourself, what is the potential impact of letting go? What is possible? What could go well instead of what could go wrong if you were to let go? What could change for you? Imagine if you did let go of something, maybe that you feel you're not good enough. But here's the thing, you are. That's a story you've created. And if you let go of that and start to create a new story for yourself that you are good enough, what could change for you? And I'd like to finish with the final question. What steps are you going to take to let go and to propel yourself forward in your life, in your work, in your health, in your relationships? So I hope this has been useful for you today. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, as always, or direct message me if you would prefer to. And as I said, I will start to share some of the things that came up from the retreat. Obviously, ensuring confidentiality with our delegates, but things from my own experience I'll also share those with you to have you think about what it is you can do differently to create the life that you really want. So before I go, a quick reminder, if you haven't grabbed your copy of the Personal Brand Playbook, then do click on the link that will be in the comments shortly so that you can register to grab your free copy of the playbook. The playbook is all about building your personal brand. It talks about the 6 facets of personal branding that I believe are critical to building a powerful personal brand, to be able to show up in the workplace and be remembered for the right reason, to be top of mind with those that matter. And so it walks you through that. It also provides you with a brand audit so you can work through and understand where the gaps are in your personal brand. And then it provides you with best practices that you can implement immediately to start to improve upon and grow your brand. So do grab your copy of that. As I said, link will be in the comments shortly. And if you haven't already done so, do now head over to YouTube and click on the link in the comments to subscribe to my channel, where you'll have access to all the previous lives that I have done over the last coming up to 2 years now, and also to the podcast, many of which are interviews with leaders from the tech industry who have shared their stories, experiences, their learnings, the challenges they've overcome. Really inspiring conversations and very great nuggets, let's say, of gold in terms of things you can take and apply to yourself, to your own career. It opens possibilities of what is out there in terms of career opportunities and how to get yourself to where you want to be. So do head over, check out the podcast, check out the lives. Please do subscribe and share with others who you feel could benefit from this content. So until next time, remember to elevate your performance, maximize your potential, and create new possibilities by showing up as the best version of yourself. Take care, and I will see you next week.